Hi. Yeah, this series doesn't get a wrap until I stop getting questions about can you do a guide on this obligatory topic, so to appease the masses, I'm back with another tutorial video, and totally not because it's gonna make me a lot of money. I've done dozens of gun guides and never really discussed any attachments on their own, and I think it's high time to settle that. One tip for every available optic in the game, given 5 minutes, this is ambitious and I got a haul ass, so here we go, 5 minutes in Sandstorm, buckle up. But note, the same loadout for the Mark 18 CQBR is used for as many of these as possible to establish a control group. Let's get started. If at all possible, the optic you should be using is the Zenit 1.5 times PKAS collimator sight. It beats out every other one-stock holographic for the simple reason of zoom, on top of what is in my opinion also the best reticle in the game with actual illumination for dark and nighttime, making it easily the most diverse and function of the standard selection. It also mounts lower profile custom to most AK type rifles. With the same mounting system is also the OKP7, which was also in the running for the best cheap optic with easily the thinnest frame housing and an unconventional but laser sharp Russian chevron type reticle that's green, which given the generally red color palette of this game will translate as much more distinct in many areas. The Cobra EKP8 is also good as hell, with again very thin frame minus the custom AK mounting, but featuring a nice T-shaped crosshair, which unfortunately is most susceptible to being washed out in the bright areas by far, but is still rather decent. Outside of the holy trinity of great Russian optics, we have the last Insurgent one stock, that being the Mars, which is basically what mom meant when she told you we have red dot at home. I've seen car accidents prettier than this optic, and the frame is just too big. Don't use it unless it's for the meme. I used to dislike the security red dot, but it appears they've not only shrunk the dot on the sight, but given it a bit better interior picture and smaller frame. Overall, thumbs up. The EOTech HWS, or just the holographic, is called that because it's just the shit in every game. While a relatively large reticle, the focal point is tighter than the red dot and the window is decent. I use this for most security and like it, but be aware of the rather large frame obstructing some threats. Finally, for one stock hollows, the Trichicon MRO gets shit on a lot, but despite having a very small picture, I would contend that the point of the optic is being as small as possible to increase peripheral vision so that you might be a little more aware of what's on the left and right of where you're looking. I actually quite like it and use it for SMGs. Reminder that the OKP, Cobra, Mars, red dot, and holographic all get a toggle magnifier option for an extra point, which basically keeps the reticle and then replaces the normal frame in your picture with a magnifier, which resembles the same shape of the red dot but has a zoom, so it's better. You can also toggle it off to the side and use the regular optic as is, but the magnifier might block some peripheral vision. It's good for the money, but not the best. The Insurgents get more cheap hollows, but pay for it in the scope category. The M150, or else in every other game, the Trichicon ACOG is a 4x magnification device with a great reticle, but minus the illumination you'd see in the real world or other games, making it completely shit for night ops and dark areas, and also doesn't feature an iron sight that you can use for close quarters on the top like the other two security ones, making it the worst and only option you have for range as a terrorist. The security Elcan C79 or Spectre is good with a 4x magnification and usable iron sight on top, but again, this thing is just supposed to have a tritium illuminated reticle that works to make the crosshair more visible when it's dark, and also used to be cheaper than 3 points simply because it wasn't as good as the next entry and honestly still isn't. In the real world, the SU-230 or else the Spectre DR is a successor to the former, and honestly it shows in game. Toggleable iron sight? Check. Way better reticle? Check. Where is the illumination? It is more effective to learn to hip fire than to spend a credit on the red dot combo ACOG or SU-230. In terms of sniper scopes, the two options for each faction are more or less the same. Insurgents get a 3 to 6 times T-scope, which has a rather chunky crosshair in comparison to the red ring security variants of the same magnification, but end up winning in terms of the cheaper non-variable 7x humper scope. What the? Hunter scope, not having a scope cap or a thicker frame like the sniper scope to obstruct peripheral vision on top of a thinner crosshair for better clarity. All generic options covered, it's now time for the exclusives, which fun fact are all either magnified or combo scopes. The AUG gets both a 1 to 1.5 times A1 scope and a 3 times A3. The 1 credit A1 is in my opinion much better with a very nice pocket PKS for the same price, plus an iron sight on top that you won't use but for some reason is like crack for me. The 2 credit A3 is still great but can't mount optics on top for some reason. Similarly, the G36 gets a 1 to 1.5 times toggled scope with slightly thinner crosshairs in the scope and flatter, wider iron sights on top, so better, and a 3 to 1 times combo optic that has the 1.5 times reticle with a double zoom and the world's shittiest red dot. Do not use this. The L85A2 SUSAT scope is literally identical in description to the C79 but 1 credit cheaper. I give it a yes. The QTS11's 4 to 1 times type 11 doesn't have a separate holographic but rather switches magnification to 0 to serve as a shittier holographic. That's okay, but it also has a version with a toggle to 1 times but with night vision for 1 credit. That's pretty good. The QBZ03's type 3 3x magnification scope coming in at 2 credits has easily the thinnest, clearest, best reticle if you're okay with having a peripheral field of vision narrower than my will to live. The QBZ97's 3x YMA95 1 scope is the best scope in the game. Good zoom in picture, illuminated reticle for night modes, and it only costs 1 credit. If this is not the scope that you are using for your QBZ, you are stupid. The M110 gets in my opinion the best sniper scope in the form of the DOS, which is 3 to 6 times like the others, however has a tight red crosshair and superior cool factor for the same price. The M1 Garan's 2.5 times M1C scope is okay, but the Ironsight is difficult to use. The Mosin's 4 times PU scope is cheap and good. The SVD's 4 times PSU is cheap and good. The MR73's 2 times is cheap and good. The M99's Type 99 is cheap and shit. If you think that you need to spend 2 credits on a red dot for your pistol, it is likely that you are a product of incest. Laser is the best optic.
Jimmy Turner, my name is Doug. Give a